Many of you may be wondering, is Honkai Star Rail worth playing? And in today's video, I'm going to give my thoughts on the game after being in the closed beta 3 now for about a month. To begin, Honkai Star Rail is a turn-based RPG adventure developed by HoYoverse, which are known for developing games Honkai Impact and Genshin Impact. HoYoverse decided to take a new approach with Honkai Star Rail, as it is a semi-open world game in the sense that you can explore, but you are restricted by barriers as to how far you can go. Also, it is a turn-based game. Turn-based combat consists of a turn-by-turn order, like the name suggests, and it is primarily geared towards strategic gameplay. Some turn-based games you may have played or know of can be Pokemon, Fire Emblem, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Epic 7, and much more. Turn-based games can come in many forms, as it could be a card game, an active combat game with turn-based implemented, and so much more. Additionally, if you are enjoying the video so far, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and now let's carry on. Now, how does Honkai Star Rail play, and how is the game overall? Honkai Star Rail has 7 elements and 7 paths, which are like classes in the game. All the elements and classes play a very significant role in battle. Some characters are dedicated buffers, debuffers, all-rounders, single target damage dealers, and so on. In combat, you have skill points, which are used up one by one depending on how many skills you use instead of normal attacks, and when you use a normal skill, you gain a skill point back. Enemies have toughness meters, which are essentially like shields for the enemy, and they have to be broken before you can really inflict a bunch of damage on them in a normal case scenario. Keeping that in mind, the game does offer strategy, as you have to think accordingly when to skill, ultimate, normal attack, and so on, as if you do multiple wrong moves, you can definitely lose a battle. Overall, I'd rate the combat a 8.5 out of 10. It's simple, which is good for newcomers, but still can possess challenge, which I'm sure veteran turn-based players can heavily appreciate. As for the story, without spoiling it, I'd rate it a 9 out of 10 so far. The story is quite immersive and provides a lot of character depth and development throughout the tale that is being told. I personally love the introduction of the game, as it is mysterious and arises a lot of questions for me, which I personally think is a great way to start an immersive tale, as it can make one experiencing the story want more and want to know more as a whole. Additionally, if you want to see the introduction of the story, it is on my channel as I play through it and give my reaction. Overall though, I believe the story so far is phenomenal and I'm definitely hooked. Next up, I like to discuss the gacha. I made a prior video going fully in depth about the gacha, but the gacha is almost identical to Genshin Impact's gacha, which isn't the most terrible system, but it's also not the best. For 5-star characters on the limited banners, you hit a 90 pity and have a 50-50 chance to get the character, and if you don't the first time, the second 5 stars guaranteed that limited character. As for the weapon banner, it is a bit of improvement overall, as it has the same rules of the character banner, except the pity is 80. In contrast to Genshin, the limited light cone banner, which is the weapon banner, will only have 1 light cone at a time from what I've seen so far, and have that 50-50 rule applied to it as well. Overall, I rate the gacha system a 6.5 out of 10. Next, I'd like to discuss the grinding aspects of the game. The game has an artifact system which is referred to as relics, and there's also character level up mats, talent mats, and so on. The grind, in my opinion, is really simple, as there's an auto mode and a 2x speed mode in combat, and you could do all of your daily grind for relics, mats, and so on with those settings and do it 6 times each per run, which means you use up all of your 180 Trailblazer power, which is resin in this game. You can put it on 2x speed, auto mode, for 3 separate segments with a 6 times per run on. Overall though, the grind is super fast, and the game definitely appreciates your time as a player. Personally, I would rate it an 8.5 out of 10. And of course, if you want to play the grindy modes of the game, just getting your mats and stuff by hand, that's totally fine as well. It's just that the auto mode and the 2x speed mode is really nice for those who do have busy lives and cannot necessarily always have time to play a game while they're super attentive to it at the same time. As for events, we haven't seen many events so far, but they seem to be quite simple, as they consist of fighting harder enemies and being able to obtain the premium currency in the game, which is Stellar Jade, at a decent rate, as the levels don't take too long to complete on a day-to-day basis. Overall, the events also seem to respect your time, and I do appreciate that, However, I wish they involved a bit more story or depth, as I do like story events personally, so I would rate it a 7 out of 10. But with the assumption that we get more events when the game does come out, I'm sure they'll implement story-based events, and I would probably bump that up to an 8 at that point. But for right now, I would consider the events a 7 out of 10. Lastly, I want to discuss endgame possibilities. So far, we have 2 modes unlocked in the CBT3, which is Forgotten Hall and Simulated Universe. Personally, I like these modes, as Forgotten Hall is incredibly similar to the Spiral Abyss in Genshin. You have to make 2 teams, and the things you fight within those 2 teams have different bosses. As for Simulated Universe, it is a mode where you fight numerous foes and unlock buffs after each fight. These buffs will matter a lot, as you have to defeat a difficult foe at the end of the world in the Simulated Universe, which possesses quite a challenge. In Simulated Universe, if you lose a fight, you'll have to restart that world all the way from the beginning, so the moves you make matter quite a lot. The incentive to do these modes can be standard tickets for summoning or even obtaining a really nice 5-star light cone for your characters. Overall, I think endgame-like modes that we have so far are good, and there should be 2 more modes if I'm not mistaken in final release, but overall so far from what I've been experiencing when the endgame-like modes, I would give it an 8.5 out of 10. And when they add those modes, I might even bump that up to a 9, but I would have to see what those modes entail before I can make that decision. That'll be all though for my thoughts and review of Honkai Star Rail, and in the end, the game has an overall rating of an 8 out of 10. Personally, I love Honkai Star Rail, and while it does have a few flaws, I think the positives of the game absolutely outweigh the cons, and I personally can't wait for the game's full release, which is expected to be at the end of April. Now, that is not confirmed yet from the company. However, on the Apple Store, if you were to go there, or even I believe on the Google Play Store, it does say that it is expected April 26th, so I'm just assuming the game will release sometime around that time. Once again though, I personally cannot wait, as this game is just so much fun. I love this game. I've always been a turn-based junkie, as they call it. I love turn-based games, so Honkai Star Rail just fell right at home for me. I love the story, I love the character design. There's just so much I love about this game, and I definitely would recommend when the game does come out, for you guys who are possibly interested in trying it, definitely try it out. I hope all of you guys enjoyed this video though, and if you did, make sure to subscribe for more Star Rail content, as I like to do it all if I can, which are guides, discussions, reactions, gameplay, and so on. I like to do it all. Let me know in the comments down below though if you are excited for Honkai Star Rail, and I hope you all have a good one. Peace.